Assalamu alaikum everyone. We are going to start the series of lectures on endocrine disorders or endocrinology. Today our topic of discussion is Cushing syndrome. Before discussing the Cushing syndrome, I would like to discuss the little bit physiology of the cortisol hormone. So starvation, stress, and in the morning, eh, these are the signals, these are the various stimuli which acts on the hypothalamus. This is the diagrammatical representation of hypothalamus. From the hypothalamus, a hormone is released called CRH, corticotropin releasing hormone. This CRH acts on the anterior pituitary. This is the anterior pituitary, red one. From the anterior pituitary, ACTH is released, adrenocorticotropic hormone. This ACTH acts on the adrenal glands, especially the adrenal cortex. From the adrenal cortex, specifically the zona fasciculata, glucocorticoid. This is the adrenal gland. This is adrenal gland. From the zona fasciculata of adrenal cortex, cortisol is released. This cortisol perform various major functions. The first important function is gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis. Due to this gluconeogenesis, blood glucose levels becomes very high. Second important function is lipolysis, breakdown of lipids, transfers of lipids and fats from adipose tissues into the circulation. The third important function is catabolism of protein. Catabolism means catabolism of collagen and other proteins, which means the breakdown of proteins or proteolysis. And the fourth important function is insulin resistance. This cortisol causes insulin resistance, and this insulin resistance also increases the blood glucose levels. And the fifth important function is it has immunosuppressant effect. Immunosuppressant, it decreases the neutrophils, polymorph nuclear cells, decreases the lymphocyte, but it increases RBC count in the blood. So these are the various functions or various effects of cortisol on the body. Now come to the Cushing syndrome. But actually Cushing syndrome is the sign and symptoms which appears on the body because of increase or excessive levels of cortisol in the blood is basically Cushing syndrome. So excessive levels of glucocorticoids, especially cortisol, is called Cushing syndrome. After discussing the Cushing syndrome, now come to the causes or etiology of the Cushing syndrome. The most common cause is exogenous steroid administration. Exogenous steroids. Exogenous steroid is the most common cause. It is most common cause. The examiner may ask you in the viva or in the theory exam that what is the most common cause of Cushing syndrome. So the most common cause, and the other one is endogenous causes. These are not common, these are very uncommon causes, endogenous causes of Cushing syndrome. In endogenous, the endogenous causes may be ACTH independent, and the other one is ACTH dependent. As the name indicate, the ACTH independence, which does not depend on the ACTH, means that the high levels of cortisol in the blood, but this high level of the cortisol is not because of ACTH. This is directly within, when the problem is directly within the adrenal gland. So in the ACTH independent, the most important cause is adrenal tumors or adrenal adenoma. In ACTH dependent, there are two causes. One is pituitary and the other one is ectopic ACTH secretion, ectopic ACTH production or secretion. Pituitary, in the pituitary adenoma is the most common. As far as ACTH dependent endogenous causes are concerned, the most common cause is pituitary adenoma. So the endogenous most important cause is pituitary adenoma, which is approximately 70 to 80%. So the most important cause is, and the most common cause is exogenous steroid, but in endogenous the most common cause is pituitary adenoma, which is 70 to 80%. And ectopic ACTH secretions, here the few examples are small cell carcinoma of lung, small cell carcinoma of lung, which produces ACTH, carcinoma of lungs, neuroendocrine tumors, Now another term, pseudo-Cushing syndrome. What are the causes of pseudo-Cushing syndrome? Basically excessive alcohol intake, obesity, and the last one is major depressive disorders. These are the various causes which causes pseudo-Cushing syndrome. Means in these cases gives the appearance of Cushing syndrome, but not the cause is exogenous steroid or all these other causes. Other than all these causes, excessive alcohol intake, obesity, and major depressive disorder causes pseudo-Cushing syndrome. Here I would like to discuss that the ACTH independent is primary Cushing syndrome. This is why this is primary, because the cause or the pathology is present within the adrenal gland, which is a primary gland of cortisol, while ACTH dependent is secondary Cushing syndrome. This is secondary because the cause is not primarily within the adrenal gland, but the cause may be pituitary adenoma or ectopic ACTH secretion. Now come to the clinical features of Cushing syndrome. In the clinical features, start from head and move towards the toe. First is brittle and thin hairs. Why these are brittle and thin hairs? Because of proteolysis or breakdown of protein. Because of increased RBCs, red apple cheeks, because of increased RBC. And moon faces or moon shaped faces or lunar face, because of deposition of fat on the face, moon or lunar face, also called cushingoid face. And increased blood pressure, hypertension. Why hypertension? Because this ACTH, which is released from the anterior pituitary, also stimulates the mineralocorticoid receptors and activates the aldosterone, so sodium and water is increased in the body, which leads to this hypertension. And the other important feature is centripetal obesity or pendular abdomen. Because of fat deposition on the abdomen. And these purple lines are reddish purple stria. These are the characteristic feature of Cushing syndrome. Why these stria are formed? Because of centripetal obesity, there is a stretching of the skin and the venous blood becomes visible or apparent on the skin, so stria may formed. And because of proteolysis, osteoporosis and easily fracturing may occur. These patients are prone to fractures, and because of immunosuppressant effects, because of the immunosuppressant effect of cortisol, these patients are more susceptible to infections. So these patients are at the high risk of infections in the body. If the wound is formed, unfortunately, there is a delayed or poor wound healing. Because of immunosuppressant effect and less inflammatory response from the cortisol. And the other important feature of the Cushing syndrome is easy bruising. There is a bruising on most of the parts of the body. And the other important feature is these patients have the appearance of lemon stick. Why this is yellow? I have drawn this a yellow because these patients take a lemon and put some toothpick or another sticks. These legs and feet are some sticks, and this yellow abdomen is lemon. Consider it as a lemon. So these patients have lemon stick appearance. These patients have lemon stick appearance. The ACTH dependent Cushing syndrome stimulates the adrenal gland, zona reticularis of the adrenal gland. So sex steroids or the sex hormones becomes increased, and which causes the hirsutism or hairs on the face of females, as well as infertility problems and amenorrhea in females. So these are the various clinical features of Cushing syndrome. Now come to the diagnosis or investigation of the Cushing syndrome, that how can we diagnose the patient of having the Cushing syndrome. I have drawn this algorithm chart which is very useful, and now starting either the patient has a Cushing syndrome or not. First, there are three major screening tests for the Cushing syndrome by which we can diagnose that the patient has either a Cushing syndrome or not. The first important test is overnight low dose dexamethasone test, OLDDMT. Overnight low dose dexamethasone test. In this test, we will give the patients a low dose of 1 mg of dexamethasone at 11 p.m. at night, and we will measure the cortisol at 8 a.m. in the morning. If the levels are greater than 50 nanomole per liter, then the patient, this result suggests that the patient has Cushing syndrome. The second screening important test is 24 hours urinary cortisol. In this test, we will check the patient's cortisol levels in the urine after 24 hours and the third important test is late night salivary cortisol. As we know that the cortisol has diurnal variations or circadian rhythm, and the middle of the night the cortisol levels in the normal individuals are very low, but in these individuals having the Cushing syndrome, the late night or the midnight salivary cortisol levels are high. So we take the samples of the saliva of these patients prior to the bedtime. So these are the three important screening tests. If from these three tests 2 are positive, it means that the patient has Cushing syndrome. So if these tests are normal, then stop working. Then no need to do any further labs. But if 2 of these 3 tests are positive, means that the high levels of cortisol, then come to the next step, that what will be the cause of this Cushing syndrome. In order to find out the cause, measures the ACTH levels, adrenocorticotropic hormone levels. Measure these ACTH levels will help out in order to find out the cause of Cushing syndrome. So if ACTH levels, remember the feedback mechanism, when the cortisol or dexamethasone's levels are high in the body, they inhibit by the feedback mechanism. And inhibit these ACTH or CRH and ultimately try to decrease the levels of cortisol. But if so we are measuring the ACTH levels in this case. If the ACTH levels are below 1.1 picomoles per liter, so it is suggestive that the cause is adrenal tumor. Because in adrenal tumor, ACTH levels are low. Because the problem is not in the pituitary or in the hypothalamus, the cause is present primarily within the adrenal gland. So this test is very helpful to find out the cause. If the test levels, ACTH levels are below 1.1, then the cause is adrenal tumor. Now perform the CT scan of the adrenal gland. This is the next step. But if the levels of ACTH are much more than 3.3 picomoles per liter, it means that the cause is either the pituitary or it may be ectopic. So in order to find out that it may be a pituitary or the ectopic cause, we perform the third important test. This is high dose dexamethasone test. In this, we will give the patient 2 mg of dexamethasone, 2 mg of dexa, and check 4 times daily for 48 hours the level of cortisol. If in this test we will check the suppression of cortisol. If the suppression because of the feedback mechanism is greater than 50%, if there is a greater than 50% suppression of cortisol after giving the dexamethasone, then the cause lies within the pituitary gland, it means that the patient has pituitary adenoma, and then perform the MRI of pituitary gland. MRI of pituitary gland. MRI pituitary gland. But if there is a suppression of cortisol below 50%, then the cause may be ectopic ACTH producing tumors like small cell carcinoma of lung and carcinoid or other endocrine tumor. So we will perform the chest CT scan, the abdominal CT scan, in order to find out where the tumor actually is. So the fourth important test after the high dose dexamethasone is CRH stimulation test. CRH stimulation test is used to diagnose whether the cause is pituitary or ectopic. We give the patients intravenously CRH and check the levels of cortisol. After giving CRH, when remember the physiology, increase in the CH leads to increase in ACTH, leads to increase in the cortisol level. If this is happening, it means that the result is positive and the cause is pituitary adenoma. But if there is no response, then the cause is ectopic ACTH producing tumor, or it may be the lungs carcinoma, small cell carcinoma of lung, or and neuroendocrine tumor or other tumor in the lungs, which is producing the excessive ACTH and which leads to increased cortisol levels. So this algorithm is very important, that how we can investigate the patient of Cushing syndrome. Now in the last, come to the management of the Cushing syndrome. First we will talk about the conservative management. The most important management of the Cushing syndrome is surgical, but prior to surgery, a few weeks before the surgery, give the patients ketoconazole. This is basically antifungal drug, but it is also a enzyme synthetic inhibitor of cortisol. It inhibits the formation of cortisol. If the tumor is adrenal, the cause for the Cushing syndrome is adrenal tumor. Adrenalectomy means removal of adrenal gland is the treatment of choice. If the cause is pituitary adenoma, then transsphenoidal ablation or removal of pituitary adenoma is the treatment of choice. If there is ectopic ACTH secreting tumor like small cell carcinoma of the lung or neuroendocrine tumor or carcinoid tumor, then remove the tumor and then followed by radiotherapy or chemotherapy. If the cause is iatrogenic or exogenous, which is most common cause of Cushing syndrome, so slowly taper the exogenous drugs. Steroid like prednisolone, dexamethasone, or the patient is taking any other drug. I would like to discuss, which I have missed in the cause, is the ACTH or the primary Cushing syndrome, ACTH independent or the primary Cushing syndrome, and the other one is ACTH dependent, the pituitary adenoma. If the cause for the Cushing syndrome is pituitary adenoma, it is called Cushing's disease. This is called Cushing's disease. So remember, the examiner may ask you in the viva that what is the difference between the Cushing syndrome and Cushing's disease. Cushing disease is nothing but when the cause for the Cushing syndrome is pituitary adenoma, this is called Cushing's disease. So we have discussed up till now the definition, the causes, pseudo-Cushing syndrome, the clinical features and diagnosis, and last but not least the management of the Cushing syndrome. Thank you so much for watching my videos.